And a very good day to you wherever you are watching us for day 2 of the Para-Dressage competition here at the World Equestrian Games, and we will be kicking off with the Grade 3 classification today after 3 medals were decided on day 1. A terrific day and really close competition, and we could be in for something similar over the next few hours with not only the Grade 3, which will be starting in 5 minutes time, but also with the Grade 1 competition this afternoon. So lots to look forward to. Judges are in position, ready to mark the first rider who will be coming in the Grade 3 competition on what is another glorious day. Thankfully, after the difficulties of last week, the seed is set here in the Tryon Stadium here in North Carolina under nearly cloudless skies. As I say, all the judges now ready to enjoy the action, and as you can see, what they're going to be judging over the next couple of hours or so, and we will be beginning with probably the lady who looks as favourite in the start list for this particular competition, because Natasha Baker back at the for the Great Britain after missing last year's European Championships. Well, she will be first in, and remarkably yesterday 2 of the winners came from the first riders in, and the way the draw has worked, the favourite for the Grade 3 is first up. But some interesting names along the way there in the first section. Emma Booth from Australia and Steffen Zeibig look amongst the interesting names. Amongst the latter starters, well, Erin Orford, Natasha Baker's Great Britain teammate, will be last to go later on today. So those are the entries here from a wide range of countries. The weather, as I mentioned, looks absolutely perfect, with conditions at the moment a nice 21 degrees, but clearly he's going to get warmer as the day progresses, and just 2 miles an hour, that's not really a breeze. Rob Howell, who is working here for the FEI on the Para-Dressage, joins me now just to assess, and great to see Natasha Baker back, but obviously there's still the question mark. While the horse looks to have the potential at the big time, but this is the first event for the horse in the big time.
Absolutely, and I think Natasha goes into this as the clear favourite, but we do have to bear in mind that it is a brand new relationship. She's only had Diva from the beginning of this year. She's just walking in now. It is a brand new relationship, but they have really clicked, and they've had some stunning results this year in the competitions that they have done, and Natasha is going to be very hard to beat today.
Yep, was joining us yesterday here on our coverage of the Para-Dressage while she was watching Sophie Wells win gold. Well, Sophie Wells' horse, Fatal Attraction, is actually standing in the arena as a sort of calming influence, George. So Natasha Baker coming in. But the other names to watch out for: Emma Booth's an interesting contender from Australia, Steffen Zeibig, and maybe Erin Orford. Who else could be medal contenders?
Well, the 2 that you mentioned, Emma from Australia, we've never seen international before, but she does have a great reputation and some good scores behind her. Steffen is a European medalist. We've also got Roberta Sheffield from Canada. Roberta came 4th at the WEG in 2014 and again has had some good results this year. We have to look at Rebecca Hart. Rebecca is a really seasoned campaigner. She's representing the USA today, so she's at her home games. That could be to her advantage.
Well, we're underway with Natasha Baker coming down the centre line to start her test. And as I say, with this new combination, Mount St. John Diva Dannenberg to give the horse the full name. Mount St. John, of course, is closely associated with Charlotte Dujardin. And the owners are here to watch Natasha compete on their horse. And she's off and running. And I have to say, it looks a confident start from the British multi-medalist. Didn't have such a good time in Caen 4 years ago, Rob, but she certainly feels that this horse can give her the return to the big time she so craves.
Absolutely. A gold medal at WEG is the one gold that's missing from her collection. She obviously won 3 golds in Rio on her beloved Cabral, known as JP, but he sadly died last year very suddenly. So like we said before, this is a new relationship, but this is the medal she's missing, and she really, really wants it.
Well, she's now trending at around about, looking at the scores, just getting better, just 7.6 for the move to the right, and around about 72% she's coming in. As I say, at Hartbury early this year, she nailed a score of 73.353. What we're seeing in some of the warm-up events, the scores are slightly less, as you would expect for a World Championship, and she's just trying to just circle. And looking around about 7, just over 70% at the moment is the way she's scoring. And she said yesterday she'd be happy with it, just trying to keep the horse going there. Round, just coaxing the horse round, using every aid to keep Diva going, round about the 70%. And she wanted to try and get to, say, 72%, 73% is what she would be happy with, but it's never easy. And we saw yesterday Lee Pearson with a new horse surprisingly retiring, and just didn't work out, so you never quite know, but a little better now. In the grade 3 classification, obviously the smaller arena, walking and trotting is the nature of the test. All looking very consistent, just over the 7 marks, round about 71 into the halt and the walk back. And now into the trot. That looked quite tidy. Now going across the diagonal. So again, all around about the 7s, just not high 7s. Just 9 years of age, this horse. Always tough when you go first. Mentioned yesterday, we had 2 of the winners first in the arena, Son of Wirtz and Sophie Wells. 7.5, so definitely some better scores there for those serpentine loops. This is getting better, settling into the routine as we come towards the end. And the final halt, and that's a good ending. And Natasha very pleased to have done that, and I think the score is a competitive one. Looks as if it's going to be around about the 72%. And is that going to be good enough? Has it opened the door for the chasing pack? And that's going to make it very interesting for the likes of Steffen Zeibig, maybe Erin Orford, her teammate as well. Very interesting. And as I mentioned, she scored over 73 in an earlier event this year, but they tend to be just a little lower, so probably it's on that course. But all in all, Natasha, I think, can be pleased.
She can be pleased, but it isn't what we saw yesterday with Sana and Sophie Wells, where they came in and they scored 74s, 73s, high 73s, 74s, and really set the challenge. If this does come through at a 72-ish mark, then it does open the door a little bit for some of those challenges, and there are some good ones. We've mentioned a few already, but also later on in the order, we've got Lauren Barwick from Canada.
Well, she's come in, final score, 72.471. There is the score. So I think she's going to be pretty pleased with that. It definitely looks like it's going to be a medal-winning performance, but now she's got a long wait to find out whether it will be a gold medal-winning performance, because the last rider to go in will be her teammate, Erin Orford, and she's not due into the arena until just after 12:15 local time. So from that perspective, it's going to be a nervous couple of hours, 2.5 hours or so for Natasha Baker, hoping that she can win that coveted individual gold here at the World Equestrian Games, but a really good start. I think she shouldn't have any complaints.
No, she shouldn't, but it does, from a spectator's point of view, opens it up to a much more. It's going to be a very interesting few hours.
Indeed. Well, it's going to be a fascinating few hours. The judges in their boxes, and I can assure you it's a very difficult thing being the assistants, because you have to write everything down, and when you do it, having tried it, you can't miss a beat, because then everything is then ready and you can review later the judges' scores. So we get ready for our second rider to come in from Italy, but certainly that's just what Natasha Baker wanted, somewhere in the 72s, maybe 73. I'm sure she is feeling reasonably happy with that opening score, 72.470. I suppose the next names that we will be looking out for in terms of medal potential will be maybe possibly here Francesca Salvadè, who has scored some low 60s, rather high 60s, and did compete at last year's European Championships. Francesca Salvadè coming in at the 29-year-old on this 11-year-old Bay Gelding Muggle. They competed last year in Gothenburg, where they finished sixth, and they scored 67.471. So we'll need to improve a bit, well, quite significantly, to challenge maybe Natasha Baker's score of 72.470, but it will be maybe trying to get somewhere near that 70% mark as she gets ready to begin her test here on day 2 of the Para-Dressage under glorious sunny skies, not a breath of wind, near perfect temperatures for the start of this grade 3. And here she goes. I think there's a little error on course there. That error costly. So now she's already having to play catch up. Not the start that she wanted. But now the mark's being round about the, well, very much on course with what she's done before, around about the 6.7, 6.8 for the various tests here. So it's a consistent, although of course has got to try and make up with those cost or an error. It's 2 percentage points. Nearly cost Stina Tanga-Kastrup very dear yesterday when she did have an error on course, but still was able to hold on for gold in the grade 2 individual yesterday. And again, around about the 6.7s for the various transitions. Again, it's consistent, but that wasn't what she wanted, to have the error right at the very start. Galling, in the extreme, but she's producing still a very steady test. And it is very much on trend for where she tends to score, and obviously would dearly love to beat last year's European Championship. Let's see what she does with here. 2 to 4 euro can have here on the walk back there from the halt. Her horse, the wonderfully named Muggle. Just slipping back a little bit, the marks not where they were, although that move on the quarter line was judged well by our 5. Now just all really similar, but it's going to leave her down the field, I think, the way it started. And now just the walk across and back into the trot. I think this is going to be one that's going to be leaving her feeling a little bit disappointed with that mistake, how costly it has been, because otherwise it's been a respectable test. And there's some better marks coming towards the end. It's really picked up, so it's been a good response to the initial mistake. Coming down the final centre line. And that is the test for our second competitor, Francesca Salvadè, beginning with that frustrating error on course, but I think she'll just have to put that one behind her, but actually say in the end it wasn't too bad, and it'll be interesting to see what she comes in with a final score. So not too bad, but disappointing to have that early error. And the horse responding and doing well for her in the end. But will it give her a score better than last year's Gothenburg score, which would be, given the error on course, quite a little, I suppose, a feeling like a Pyrrhic victory. But anyway, she's leaving the arena with the job done for the Italians. Obviously, the team competition still to come over the next couple of days. And the score is 66.589. So still not a bad effort for Francesca. There's confirmation. Pretty consistent from our 5 judges there. 167, but the others all around 66. That's why she's with a score of 66.589. So well done to Francesca, responding from that really little problem at the beginning. So, rider number 3 about to come into the arena, and it is from Australia, who Emma Booth is on it. There's one of our judges, and that is at E, Hanneke Gerritsen. Just waiting for Emma Booth to come in, the Australian 27-year-old, and started out eventing, but then was involved in a horrible accident, which while travelling, I think, to an event, and when in a car, and left not only horses killed but her seriously injured. But she's come back, and now she is a fully committed para-dressage rider, and doing well. And we're just waiting for her to come into the arena. Test due to start at 9:48, just a little bit ahead, and so she will come in as another of our judges. But as I say, Emma competed at Rio and has put in some good scores this year. Oh, there's a kangaroo being produced. There it is. The Emma Booth support team on hand. Members of the PR team and their support groups. The Australians. Of course, they've got big expectations with driving as well. But, there's Mark Irvin, who is at C. And where is Emma? Here she comes. She too will have a horse which they're allowed coming in, which stands very much sort of with safety in mind, because obviously horses can get a little bit spooky and wound up, and obviously with that. But here comes Emma, the 27-year-old Australian, with her horse Mogulvang's Zidane, a 16-year-old bay gelding. Very popular figure as well. Has done so much to, following her accident, promote para-dressage. Can she put a score that might give her a chance of a medal? Remind you, Natasha Baker out in front with 72.471. Confirmed Francesca Salvadè score is 66.676, but that's where it is at the moment. There is Emma. She was seriously injured and paraplegic after that horrendous traffic accident, but nothing was going to stop her continuing to ride. Finished 6th in Rio, scored 69.914. Best score earlier this year with this horse was 71.618, so it gives her a chance of a medal. I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be unpopular. So competitor number 3 from Australia. Emma Booth enters with Mogulvan Zidane to try and better Natasha Baker's score of 72.471. Going the correct with now Francesca turned to the right rather than to the left at the initial, and that was what cost her. So good start, I have to say. Scores looking quite good early on. That's some good scores. Looks good too, straight from the start. Currently around about the 7-3, and she's on early scores ahead of Natasha. So this is a bright start from Emma Booth. Can she maintain it? And certainly looks as if she's got off to a good start and is maintaining it. These scores being these movements being well received by the judges at the moment. Just the medium walk just going under the 7s, but everything else has been over 7 and is putting her into the lead at the moment. Over a point and a half above Natasha, so this is good. And it's going to be an anxious few moments, I think, for Natasha watching on, because this is a very respectable test at the moment from Emma Booth. Natasha's test got stronger and more confident, but obviously this is a much more experienced horse at this level. Just losing a little bit on one or two of those, just slipping back a bit, but still ahead of Natasha. Now, let's see how she goes here with the Bolton rein back. Well, was quite good. But the rein back just a little costly, but she's still keeping herself in front of Natasha. About the halfway point of the test. This could easily be medal winning. This is going to be very close. Just slipping back, one or two mistakes just coming in at the end here, just costing her a little bit. Minor mistakes. Still not going to be much in it. Got her trending on our scoreboard around about 70.35, which is Natasha just on the score is ahead. Her test got better, but this is not bad. She can still do this. It's not going to be far away. Been very, very solid throughout. Is it going to be enough? This is going to be an anxious wait for Emma, because I think she's going to feel pretty pleased with that. And yes, she does look pleased with that, and breathing and puffing out her cheeks. But that was a very good test indeed from the 27-year-old Australian. But is it going to be good enough to beat Natasha Baker's score of 72.471? Well, she looks very pleased and giving our horse a big pat as she exits the arena. She knows she's produced a potentially medal-winning performance. Nothing wrong with that at all. Everything was very solid throughout. No major glitches, and that's all you can hope for, and actually just kept it level. Just couldn't find a little bit of extra magic, maybe, but you never know. This is going to be a big moment for her as she looks up and comes out of the arena. Plenty of Australian flags being raised and waved towards her as she comes out of the arena. And what's the score? It's not quite good enough to beat Natasha Baker, because she's been adjudged with a score of 71.618. B certainly was very impressed there. Anna Prain of France was very impressed with her 75. But overall, she has come in with a score of 71.618. Well, that moves her into the silver medal position, and that will mean it's going to be a bit anxious for her, but she's got a chance now of getting a medal. And as I say, it would be a hugely popular one, but it still means Natasha Baker can breathe easy, a little easier herself, as one of her rivals has not been able to surpass her. So still all to play for in this grade 3, but it's Natasha Baker out in front from Emma Booth on a score of 71.618 for the Australian in that silver medal position after 3 riders. And now we await the next rider. What an effort from Emma Booth. But now coming in from Italy. It's rather not from Italy, I should say from Belgium. It is Barbara Minneci with her horse Stuart, the 49-year-old. Competed at the Euros last year, scoring 65.971. Has competed at the Olympics. Also riding side saddle as well. And her horse Stuart, not a young horse, 9 years of age. So our fourth rider ready to start, trotting down the side of the arena. Did compete at London. Ready to come in. Belgium just missed out on a medal yesterday with Manon Claes finishing fourth in her event yesterday, the grade 4. And a young horse, so maybe expectations not too high. But the score was pretty good to begin with, just under 7s. Remember, there's also a mini competition within a competition to see who will make it through to the freestyle. Top 8 will go through for Saturday's freestyle. And obviously with a field of 17. 2 classes today, the biggest entry lists, so going to be a tough call to make it through to the freestyle on Saturday for many of these, but that will be what Barbara Minneci will be hoping to do. Just all round about the 68% mark is what she's seems to be on course for at the moment. Not quite straight. At 6.7 for that hold. And so the rein back, it coming with a 6.2. So again, keeping it around about the 67, 68% mark. Well, it's looking pretty enough, this test. One or two good marks as well along the way, just keeping the percentage up. As she now comes down the centre line. Barbara Minneci from Belgium, and finishes the 49-year-old. And not a bad test, but it's not, don't think, going to be medal winning, but is it going to be good enough to get her through to Saturday's freestyle? That'll also be something she'll be very anxiously keeping an eye on. For the Belgian rider, electing the right side saddle, and very good it is too. So looking at that trot coming down the side of the arena. And the well-deserved pat for the horse. We'll wait the score. And the score is 67.353. 67.353 and here is the confirmation of that score, 67.353. So well done to Barbara Minneci. 67.353. Now next from Hong Kong we have the first of two riders from that country competing in this grade 3. And on that screen they've got this app here where spectators can judge, and obviously spectators thought that she did a little better than what the 5 judges thought. But Natasha Baker sitting out in front from the Australian Emma Booth, Barbara Minneci in third, and Francesca Salvadè in third. Now, from Hong Kong, and it is Fleur Schrader who is the next into the arena. The 20-year-old student from Hong Kong. Actually missing what they Freshers Week this week. Fleur should be currently registering at Portsmouth University, but happy to be missing it because it means she's competing here and has getting ready to come in with her horse Jockey Club Sarago Raphael, a 10-year-old gelding, and did compete at Hartbury last year in the this year in the competition, won by Natasha Baker. Scored 61.529, so it's probably not going to be a score that's going to be thinking about medals, but again it's just about progression and learning and getting experience of competing on the big time. And she's an infectious character, so enthusiastic for her sport. And so Fleur Schrader ready to start her test. Let's say one of two riders from Hong Kong in this classification. And Fleur begins her test. Struggling to keep the horse still early on. Hence the reason why opening up with a score of 5.2. marks around just under the 6, trending around about 57, 58%. Working hard, but things just aren't coming out as she would like. Not sure whether it's quite the right word, but little horse feeling a little scruffy, just doesn't want to quite be a team player today. Got some better marks starting to come along. Perhaps any nerves have just started to evaporate for the 20-year-old. Let's see how this, well, not very straight as you can see. Another walk back. So everything getting around about 5.55. So looking for a score in the high 50s here at the moment for Fleur. It's a 10-year-old, so still got plenty of time to improve and build up towards the Olympic Games in a couple of years' time. That would no doubt be her objective. So it's all fairly similar. It's around about the same sort of marks for all the various elements of this test. The odd mark getting into the 6s, which is all good, and particularly ones coming towards the end of the test as well. Well, job done for Fleur Schrader, and all part of the learning. She was delighted to be here and enjoying the experience of being at these World Equestrian Games. And this is all, you've got to learn how to deal and improve, and still an improving partnership. And obviously, we're just pleased to have been part of it, but looks as if she won't be one of the 8 making it through to the freestyle. Horst just not really giving of his all, despite Fleur's best efforts. Probably a score that will be around about the 60%, maybe a little under. Next week she'll be heading back to the UK to begin her studies. And here are the scores. It's 57.735. Judge at C more impressed, giving her a score in the 60s. But the 57.735 is her score. And puts her into 5th spot on day 2 here of the Para-Dressage in the Tryon Stadium. Under near cloudless skies, there's confirmation of the leaderboard after those first 5. Natasha Baker, who was first to go, if you've just joined us, with an excellent start of 72.471. Emma Booth from Australia, 71.618. And then in 3rd spot currently Barbara Minneci with 67.353. Well, there's another, the judges looking on. I think they'll be intrigued by what they see coming into the arena shortly, because this is a man who will have medal aspirations. It is Steffen Zeibig, bronze medalist in Rio, and he's coming in on his horse Feel Good. And Feel Good, a 14-year-old mare, and the 41-year-old with his 14-year-old horse, and will definitely be thinking that he can get into the medal positions, and actually on paper is a serious threat to Natasha Baker. So Steffen Zeibig begins his test. Will he be able to overhaul Natasha Baker? 72.471, the score for the British rider. Emma Booth, 71.618. And Feel Good, they scored 70.353 on their way to securing bronze last year in Gothenburg. Did score 72.941 in competition earlier this year. So seriously is one to keep an eye on, and he's begun well with some good scores coming in, a 7.7 for that medium trot and a 7.3. So this is a bright and lively start from Steffen, but he's got to maintain it. Emma Booth got off to an impressive start, and he's keeping it going. There's much more energy about this performance. Ooh, just nearly lost it there a bit, but recovered well. So going along nicely is the German rider. And these scores are good. What about this move? Oh, just a little weaker there. Just slipping back a little bit. One or two marks in the high sixes at the moment coming in. Needs to be looking at marks in the sevens. Just slipping back after that encouraging start as far as the judges are concerned. It's not going to be far away. Emma Booth, obviously, currently sitting in silver. Just one or two mistakes, just not quite now as he comes into the halt. It's a pretty good hold. The mistakes just getting the rein back didn't go well, and that's why his scores are slipping down, although the trot is much better. Now he's got back to the momentum, seems happy in the trot. Well, lots of people watching on. Natasha Baker will be watching on anxiously. She hates watching on and wondering what could happen over the next couple of hours, but she's going to be keeping a beady eye on this, as will Emma Booth. And Steffen is certainly not far away. It just doesn't feel like quite matching Natasha at the moment. Will he match Emma? That's what he's hoping for, at least. These are all right too, these are better. Definitely much more comfortable when he's in the trot. Plenty of scores in the sevens now. Coming to the end. Well, a big well, he let out a big sigh of relief at the end there. Finally getting through it, but whether he thinks, just the slightly rueful shake of the head you felt there from Steffen, that he just couldn't quite maintain the consistency that will enable him to overhaul Natasha Baker. Score of 72.471, and maybe looking as if he could be going into third spot rather than overhauling Emma. Just under 71.618 is the score for Emma Booth, and there it is, that sort of slightly rueful shake of the head that just one or two mistakes just crept into that test that didn't enable him. Whoops, the horse just then he a little bit keen, but Steffen doing well to keep Feel Good under control. And you can see what he thinks. He knows he hasn't quite done enough by that reaction. But still, it might still be good enough for a medal. There's Erin Orford to come, and one or two other strong combinations who will be hoping. And let's see what the score is. Well, he is going to go into third. He's in the 71s, but it's not going to overhaul Emma Booth. It's 71.235. The judge at H was impressed, the American judge, Christy Vysocki, giving him a score of 74.265, but it equals out as 71.235, and that is into the bronze medal position currently on the early stages of this grade 3 class here. Natasha Baker, Emma Booth, Steffen Zeibig are 1, 2, 3 at this stage, with scores all in the 70s, and that is still a pretty decent test. Last year he scored 70.353 on his way to a bronze, so he's bettered that, and that was good enough for a bronze at the Europeans, but obviously with the bigger field, then obviously he's done what only can hope for, improve on that performance of 12 months ago. But now, next rider coming in, Bert, as she is known, Roberta Sheffield, the Lincolnshire-based in Britain rider, but riding for Canada, and was fourth in the freestyle in Normandy, the 38-year-old coming in on Bayalore, the 16-year-old stallion coming into the arena, and again we'll certainly have thoughts of maybe getting into the medals, smiling at the judges as she trots around the arena, and was sixth in the individual in Normandy. with a score of 68.756. But this was on a different horse when competing in Normandy. But Hartbury earlier this year on this horse, she scored 67.147. And as I say, it comes from Lincolnshire in the United Kingdom. And that's where the eventing gold medalist Ros Cantor comes from. And of course she won double gold, not only winning the individual gold, but the team gold in the eventing. And Britain have got off to a pretty decent start and head the medals table with 3 gold medals and 2 bronze medals at this stage. And at the moment, they're on course for another gold medal. But it's a question here of whether Roberta Sheffield, how she can go. She's very much scoring on the sort of marks that she was getting at Hartbury, that around about the 67, 6.5 and 6.6 for the early movements in this test. The walk not at its best. Well, again, everything around about the same, just 6.7. Just feeling a little laboured. Now into the halt. Three step backs, you're allowed between 2 and 4. Looks like she's scoring in the low 60s, on course for a score maybe around about 63% at the moment, which would put her into 6th spot. Obviously the hope will be to get through to the freestyle, but they just need to pick up a bit, and she'll be, just as Natasha's going to be anxiously waiting to see whether she'll win gold, I'm sure for Roberta Sheffield she'll be hoping she can make it to the freestyle. Obviously that was such a Good performance in Caen 4 years ago to finish in that 4th spot. But this is going to be an anxious couple of hours for Roberta Sheffield to see if she does make it through. And she finishes her test, and it looks as if it's going to be around about the 65%. She's happy enough, though, with that performance. Just never quite sprung to life for her, but again, with this 16-year-old, it just... I'm just confirming Steffen Zeibig saw a 71.294. I think it's been a change, but that still leaves him in 3rd spot as a final score. So it's still Natasha Baker, Emma Booth, Steffen Zeibig. That's the 1, 2, 3 as we look at some of the highlights from Bert, as she is known, Sheffield's test. She looks happy enough as she comes out of the arena, giving Barlow a big pat. Just a couple more before we have an interval. We got a Japanese rider and also one from Mexico still to come before we have this break, and then there will be another 7 more combinations to come forward, including from the Netherlands, Rikke van der Horst, the defending champion. So that's obviously one that Natasha will be keeping an eye on. And then from Germany, Dr. Angelika Trabert. And just to confirm the score, 65.529 is the score for Roberta Sheffield there, putting her into 6th. And as with that score, and as I say, will be the one that see whether she can maintain that top 8 position before the end. But looking at some of the combinations to come, it's probably going to be not quite good enough to see her into the weekend's action. So a couple more, as I say, to go, and some of those big names still to come. That Erin Orford will be the last to go, but the German rider Dr. Angelika Trabert must be will be thinking that she might be able to get into the medals, as indeed will be the Dutch rider and defending champion. So all to play for still here. There is confirmation of our current leaderboard with Natasha Baker, Emma Booth and Steffen Zeibig occupying the medal position, but still plenty of high-class combinations to come forward to perhaps see that change before the end. Well, there is a huge media presence here, and not surprisingly, we've got the show jumping going on, and here photographers in position to snap away, and they'll be soon training those cameras on the Japanese rider coming in, Soshi Inaba, the 23-year-old Japanese rider. There he is coming into the arena, and on an 8-year-old, so some very young horses taking part in this. But obviously from a Japanese perspective, not only is this rider only 23, the horse is 8-year-old. There's one objective in mind, is to peak for a couple of years' time. We've seen some Japanese riders already in action yesterday, and they had just where their sport is at the moment, not only in the eventing, they've seen a major improvement, an excellent 4th in that competition. And here with this horse, Soshi Inaba, riding Femme Fatale, this 8-year-old, and scored in 2 competitions, 63.186 and 63.618 earlier this year on this 8-year-old. So how can they get on here today as they begin their test? Again, it's all about the experience of the big time and the routine of major championships, which are so different. Good hawk coming in. So that's a bright start but it's now about maintaining it throughout. And I have to say, this looks not a bad picture to begin with. Just one or two mistakes coming in, not being able to keep it quite as consistent as he would like. So it looks around as if he's possibly on course for a position just below Roberta Sheffield, who's currently in 6th. Some of these scores are about 6.4 or 5. So this, again, this performance mirrors the kind of efforts he's been putting in the build-up to the event here. Leg's not quite making it a tidy halt. But for a young pairing, this is going to be invaluable ring time. Mark's just tailing off a little bit. And there, just lost momentum. And there's some good things here, though. Now coming down for the final halt. Certainly some good things towards the end. That trot looked pretty good, and so there were some definite highlights. That is definitely something to look forward to with it. Just an 8-year-old, and Soshi Inaba just 23 years of age. So they've definitely got something to work on there, and that's the aim there. And some really good finishes, the halt at the end, and some of those, there were some good scores nearing the 7. So there was some fine little pieces of that test which has brought the score up. So I think he can take great heart from that, can show, and with obviously the ultimate aim to be really competitive maybe in 2 years' time on home soil, which is going to be a great moment for Japanese equestrian sport. And you can see just how pleased he looks and knows that that is definitely not too bad. So Femme Fatale have scored 63.471, and here is confirmation of that score for Soshi Inaba. with femme fatale, 63.471. So they do go into the 7th, but I have to say I think they've got grounds for optimism and looking as if they could be much more competitive in a couple of years' time. And if they can just iron out maybe the little bits of inexperience for both horse and rider. And so just one more rider to come before the judges can have a break, and everyone can have a break, and the arena can be re-furrowed for the remaining 7. But very interesting start with Natasha Baker out in front. And while this next combination may be not looking at medals, again it's an 8-year-old, it will, over the next the final hour of this competition, there will be all to play for, and that's why there's going to be probably a lot of anxious riders sweating on the outcome of this particular competition. Just to recap so far in the para-dressage, the gold medalists so far, and spread amongst 3 countries. The grade 2, Stine Tange Kastrup, winning for Denmark, beating the experienced Peppo Puig, with Nicole Den Dulk for the Netherlands in 3rd. The grade 4, well, that went to Sanne Weerts, first to go on Tuesday morning, with a score of 73.927. And with Rodolfo Riscala from Brazil, and a great story that, and a really popular silver medal for the Brazilian, with Denmark's Suzanne Jensby Sundersen. So a double medal winning day for not only the Netherlands, also for the Danes as well. So that means that they're right in the team mix when you look at the team competition. And obviously the grade 5 went to Sophie Wells for Great Britain, with Frank Hosmar, and then also another medal for the Dutch. So they are going to be so strong. And then Germany getting a bronze medal. So the team competition, the Dutch are strong. Obviously the Lee Pearson setback has slightly put the British team on a slightly negative footing, obviously with Sophie, Natasha clearly up there at the top at the moment. That puts them in, and then with Erin is the 4th medal, but Lee, and obviously the slight concerns about his horse, who didn't seem to settle yesterday and was retired. They're obviously the slightly worrying, because obviously 3 scores count, but you don't want to be going in with 1 down, as it were. And Lee, though, I'm sure will be hoping that the 24-hour break and today that the horse will, still a young horse, will respond. But that means why on Thursday and Friday the team competition is going to be absolutely fascinating. Can they finally derail the Brits from the top of winning team competitions in the para-dressage? Sometime it's got to happen, but I'm sure the British are equally as determined to make sure that it doesn't happen here this week. But now one more rider to go before the interval in this grade 3 competition. And coming forward is Ignacio Trevino Fuerte from Mexico, riding, as I say, another 8-year-old. And the 44-year-old Mexican has scored earlier this year 66.225. So clearly a combination that might have a little bit of potential. Again, looking forward, but as an 8-year-old coming down now to begin his test. Well, again, the scores just in the low sixes. Well, some of the scores now starting to go into the high sixes, which is mean his percentage score is going on an upward line. Not quite the fluency of movement. Some of the marks being certainly reflecting on that, a bit low. But better at the halt. And the rein back as well, a little bit better than that as well, 6.6. Not bad. Some of these are quite good marks now. Again, another combination in terms of the horse for the future. And Barwick. Brilliant year old. This is still so young. There's an awful lot of learning to be done. And it's a building block. And we'll get a little puff of the cheeks. And a big hug for his horse. So Ignacio Trevino Fuerte brings the first session to a conclusion. Again, around about the 64-65% mark this will be for him. But again, it's just putting it in the memory bank for the horse and knowing how to deal with it, because you know the horses have been here for over a week in some cases, riders, and there's a lot of hanging around, and it's managing the time and all part of how to get the rhythm of a major championships. It's so different, and obviously the whole buzz around this place so different from where many times they would be competing. But here, see some examples, and look how pleased he is with the effort of his young horse. Ears pricked as they go away. But weight on the score. Mexican supporters giving him a big cheer as he comes out, and job well done. And a score of 64.176 the judges have given to Ignacio Trevino Fuerte and Barwick, and pretty consistent scoring there as well. So that's the Her final score 64.176, and as we take a break, there is confirmation of where we're sitting at the moment. Natasha Baker out in front on 72.471. Emma Booth from Australia, 71.618. Steffen Zeibig in third on 71.294. But still all to play for. Some good combinations to come forward, including the defending champion, who will be coming into the arena at about 11:24 local time. We will be resuming the second session of this grade 3 classification here in the Tryon Stadium in around about half an hour's time. So do join us for that. First to go will be the American rider, Becky Hart. Okay. I'll bring you. Well, welcome back to the final session of this Grade 3 classification here, with all to play for, still with Natasha Baker out in front. And on this day 2 of the individual competition here at Tryon, in the Tryon Stadium, on a lovely sunny day. Warm, not surprisingly, for this competition, and it is all tantalizingly poised with some wonderful combinations still to come. Natasha Baker out in front from Emma Booth and Steffen Zeibig, the 1, 2, 3, occupying those all-important medal positions. But as I say, the remaining 8 riders will have plenty to say in how things could unfold in the next hour or so, with first up Rebecca Hart coming in from America. Rikke van der Horst, the defending champion, but is her new horse good enough to win? Perhaps we could see Angelika Trabert, the doctor from Germany, 50 years of age, who's been competing at this level since '96, or Erin Orford. Could maybe she be not necessarily a surprise package, but could she be a medal-winning package here this morning? Well, Rob Howell has hot-footed it from the mixed zone here. He's been talking to the riders, once again joining us here in our commentary position. Judges are in position. I know he'll be heading back. But Natasha, I know she texted me to say she doesn't like this bit because there's a lot of anxious watching. But do you think her total can be overhauled?
I think, having looked at some of the people that have come through, I mean, obviously it can be. It's 72.471. That is a beatable score, as we've said before. We have got good riders coming up. But the good news from Natasha is that she was absolutely delighted. It's a very new partnership. She only got Diva back in January. You know, if she gets through to the freestyle, it'll only be the 3rd or 4th time they've ridden their freestyle together. So she's really happy with it. She's got her dad here, her boyfriend's here. She's got plenty of support. So she was just really thrilled when she came out of the arena with how they did, bearing in mind that it's such a new team.
But of the ones to come, Rikke van der Horst obviously is interesting, but is the horse up to ready for this challenge?
Rikke's had a real bond with Unique, the horse that she's won with before, and Finsley is a new horse. They have had some good scores competing together though, and you never underestimate Rikke. She's a fierce competitor. She won the 2 golds at her very first WEG, very first competition 4 years ago. She may well be able to surprise us again.
And what about Erin Orford?
Erin, I mean, we all love Erin. She's a great personality. She's thrilled to be here. She is a huge potential medalist. She medalled at the Europeans, so she could do it as well.
Okay, but what about Becky Hart now coming into the arena for America? She is the first rider to go in this final session, the 33-year-old. Thank you, Rob, for joining us with his thoughts from the mix zone and what could happen over the next hour. But this is a horse that has scored 71.618, and but let's see how she is getting on, and not a bad start from Becky, as you can see, having to. Well, there's plenty of enthusiasm to the start, and the scores are pretty solid to begin with. Riding with a smile on her face and enjoying it, but keeping the horse going. And some solid enough scores at the moment in the high 6s and low 7s. So, pretty good. Well, there's some really solid scores coming in here for Becky Hart, the 33-year-old Olympian. It goes without saying that all the American team just relishing competing on home soil. She did compete here in a test event, but I was on a different horse. And they held the test event in this very arena back in April. This is a fabulous arena with wonderful views of the Blue Ridge Mountains that stretch for a long way. And of course we can. Last week they weren't always in clear view, but weather now has come really good for the final week of these World Equestrian Games. There you can see guiding our horse through the various tests. Corona Texel, this 9-year-old. Again, a lot of these combinations with young horses. You can see where we are in the sort of the cycle of the sport. Obviously, not only here, but again with the Paralympics in mind. Tell you what, this is looking very good actually, because that halt got 7.8, and I think that might be the best halt so far. Rein back not quite so good, but the halt was definitely right up there. So this is not a bad test. This is looking good. Some of these scores are very respectable, and you can see just the horse is really giving of his all at the moment. And this is a good display. And I'll tell you what, she's not too far away. Some of these marks are very, very good. And she's right up there. But can she keep it going? Not to say she's under the radar, but as I say, with a youngish horse, these scores are certainly will be giving the medalists something to think about. And these are very good scores. This has got a medal written on it, I think. Tell you what, this isn't going to be far away. Just into the working trot. I tell you what, this is going to be very close. This is a very good performance. Well, the initial thought it might just be a little short of Natasha's score of 72.471, but that was a very good test indeed from the American rider, Becca Hart. She got a really good tune out of her horse, and she's breathing, well, with a great smile on her face. That was a job very well done. I tell you what, that's not going to be far away. There was a lot of very good scores in there. Wasn't to say it was a surprise package, but it just felt good from the start. And I think she's going into a medal position here. But where is it going to be? Is it going to be good enough? Maybe just to surprise us all. It will need. But look at that. She's got a big, broad smile. There's a contented rider there. And a good work from the horse. So I tell you what, this is looking very good. There will be a big whoop and a holler if see going into a medal position. But Aunt Natasha, Emma Booth and Steffen Zeibig will be watching on anxiously to see the score. Provisional score is coming forward, and she's into silver medal. What a performance. Terrific from Rebecca Hart, 72.235. Oh, tantalizingly close, but what a performance from her. It just felt good. There was no two ways about it. It felt and looked good, but it sadly for her has just come up agonizingly short, less than 0.2% behind Natasha Baker. So that is, well, 2.25% behind. That is close. What a good display. It means Steffen Zeibig slips out of the medal positions. Emma Booth now is the one who's going to be anxiously watching the following 7 riders to see whether she can hold on to a medal position. But this is now building up to a terrific climax of this Grade 3 competition. Becca Hart into silver. Could America be on course for their first medal in the Para-Olympics? Para-Dressage here at the World Equestrian Games. And of course have had a terrific time in the reining, but here when it comes to the Para-Dressage, what a moment that would be if they could get their first medal. It's not going to be gold, because occupying that still is Natasha Baker. And this next rider coming in, well, will have medal aspirations. The defending champion soon to come into the arena. What a start to the final session of this Grade 3 competition then, with that test from Becca Hart. So lots of family and friends obviously travel out to see the riders, and tell you what, there will probably be plenty of Becca Hart's supporters on hand. The Dutch will always be out in force to watch any of their riders take part in whatever discipline, and for the latest to come in, the 26-year-old Rikke van der Horst, defending champion, but not on the same horse. As mentioned a few moments ago, this 26-year-old does come with a inbuilt feisty competitive spirit, and the Netherlands have been consistently good in the para-dressage discipline and have already had a very successful start to the week with 3 medals, 1 of each colour, and could they be on course now for another one? But so getting ready is Rikke van der Horst and her horse Finsley, and another 8-year-old. So again, where's this going to see? What kind of performance can we get here? Well, Rikke is now beginning her quest to try and defend her title here. And this horse scored in a couple of competitions, 66 and a 70 recently. When she won gold, scored 72.457 on that different horse, and obviously Natasha currently sitting on a slightly better score than that, 72.471. So shows you just how good Natasha's performance was earlier. But it's been a nice looking start. Good scores already coming in from the judges for Rikke van der Horst. Nice looking scores, all in the 7s at the moment. And there wouldn't be anything wrong with where she's begun, but some very nice scores coming in. This is looking, again, this is again going to be some anxious watching. Although just that turn, it didn't look very good, has cost her a few points. It was sticky, and only got 5.2 from the judges. That's the first big mistake. But back on track with some good scores starting to come back in. But still, got to not avoid those costly errors. Well, they're all again back in the 7s now for Rikke. Tell you what, this is looking a very hard-fought competition. It always felt like it would be, and suddenly now it is beginning. And that halts. Looks reasonable. These are some very nice efforts. That one blip, but otherwise, she's right up there. Everything getting 7s, and I'll tell you what, the other medalists will be watching on, riders in the medal position will be watching on pretty anxiously at the moment, because this has a feel that this could actually put her on top spot if she maintains this level. Some good scores coming in. So this is a very likable performance from the 26-year-old, fiercely competitive Dutch rider. Some of these 7.8s, we're seeing some really good scores here. I think she's got a really good chance of overhauling Natasha Baker here. There's no two ways about it. This is terrific. Nothing wrong. Everything's working, flowing. It's been good. Tell you what, that is a fabulous test, and I think that could be enough. What a performance, and bearing in mind that this horse is just 8 years of age. The defending champion has a real shout now, and I think she might have won it. Or not necessarily won it, but gone into gold medal winning position, because still riders to come. But that was fabulous from Rikke van der Horst. And has she produced a performance to overhaul? What an effort. Everything seemed to work. There was just one little blip, but otherwise everything was free-flowing, confident. The horse seemed at ease. She was at ease. And I think she just might be going into the lead. What a moment for the 26-year-old. Could she be defending her title? Could be heartbreak. And she has gone into the lead. It a thoroughly deserved performance and a fabulous test. Absolutely nailing it, 73.7676. What a display, what a response. And Rikke van der Horst looks on course for defending her world title here in Tryon, but this time with a different horse. Finsley, just 8 years of age, has produced the goods. Heartbreak for Natasha Baker, but it looks now as if Rikke van der Horst is in pole position to give the Netherlands a second gold medal here in the Para-Dressage. Well. So, fantastic from the Dutch rider. There was just that one score that was sort of almost a surprise, but otherwise it was a fabulous test to look at. There was just confidence from both horse and rider, and there's confirmation of the standings now. Rikke van der Horst out in front, 73.676. That looks a total that will be hard to beat. Natasha Baker, 72.471. And then in third for America, Rebecca Hart, 72.235. What a week it's been so far now. As for the Netherlands, who probably now look as if they could be favourites to win team gold at the moment. A lot of water to go under the bridge between now and Friday, but obviously from their strength of their team and the performances they produced so far, they have thrown down the gauntlet to Great Britain. But Britain on course though for another medal, and this time a silver, but Erin Orford still to come, and then we've got from Germany. So this has lots of potential twists and turns. Emma Booth though won't be getting a medal for Australia, as she has now been relegated to fourth spot with her score of 71.618. What a competition this is turning out to be. So next coming in to the arena, and another combination that mustn't be completely discounted of getting a medal from Denmark, Caroline Cecily Nielsen, and with her horse Davidoff, another 8-year-old. So many young horses. We've had 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, many of those. So just gives you an indication of, well, there's plenty of potential star combinations. And of course the Danes have had a terrific start to the week as well, with two medals in their own right, a gold and a bronze for them. So they'll be looking to try and secure another one. Remember, this afternoon it's the turn of the Grade 1 riders. 17 going forward in that competition, starting at 1:30 local time. That's in a couple of hours' time. So now Caroline Nielsen is on her way, and let's see how she can begin. Well, there's not quite the same start as Rikke, but still some good scores coming in for her. Not bad. All these scores in the round about the sevens. So she's looking good at the moment. Of course, the other intriguing element is who's going to make it through to the freestyle. At the moment, Roberta Sheffield is probably sitting thinking that probably that's not going to happen for her. She's in 8th, and maybe Francesca Salvadè is another one who's thinking with the quality of the combination still to come, who could be missing out. Likewise, Barbara Minneci, who's scored 67.353. Shows you the high standard that we've got. 5 riders already with more than 70%. This is a quality competition. It always looked like it was going to be, and it's not disappointing. These scores are looking solid enough, but they're around about the 70%, just a bit under. So it looks as if it's maybe around about the 6th spot she could be looking for, the way this test is unfolding. Into the halt. 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the trot. Halt was good. And all around about the 7, just a bit under. So it's keeping her around a score that looks just a little bit under the 70%. Again, just another young horse. There's a lot of these combinations showing real potential. Tokyo is going to be, that medal there is going to be hard fought, just as this one has proved to be. No, this is all very respectable and very encouraging, and proving that the Danish team is a very formidable one. There's a lot of very good riders, and here is another team of Caroline Cecily Nielsen and Davidoff, who've put in a very decent day's work here, and they, I think, will be very satisfied with that performance. And scoring somewhere in the region of 70%, which would put them into 6th spot. But if they, another rider over 70%, that just gives you an indication of where the quality, there's so much quality amongst this 17 rider field. There is the big posse of Danish supporters on hand, waving the flags as Caroline leads the arena. And I think she can be happy, waving to them too, knowing that her horse has shown something for the future. As we look at some of the highlights, here's Brick enjoying his work. And you can just feel that seemed to mean quite a lot to her to get a performance of that quality as we wait for the score. With Rick van der Horst, our new leader, after that stunning test a few moments ago. It was wonderful to watch, and this wasn't bad to watch too. And another rider now goes with a score in excess of 70%, and that is Caroline Cecily Nielsen. 70.412 is her score, and moves her into 6th spot. Well, this really is a fabulous competition now, because I'm sure we're going to have many more, maybe a couple more into the 70s, maybe 3 possibly into the 70s before the end as well. And that strength in depth now across this grade means it's a hard fought one to win the medals. And you look at got the medalists already in that position of the top 6, such as Natasha Baker or Steffen Zeibig, who's going to miss out. It gives you an indication of what we've seen over the last couple of hours or so. Well, the next rider who will be coming in as the judges look on. Well, I'm sure they've been enjoying this as much as we have. Next rider coming in is from Hong Kong. Already had one rider, and this is Timothy Tsang riding an 11-year-old grey. Again, probably it's more about the bringing on the team, and another one opting to have a horse just standing quietly to the side as a sort of companion, just to make sure the horse stays calm. Something Natasha had opted to earlier. So just walking the horse around the arena. So Timothy Tsang just trotting round, getting the horse ready for his test in the arena. Oh, the bell sounds, so that he's then got a minute to get into the arena to begin his test. And now he starts to come down and head towards the centre line to begin on Jockey Club Sethagus M. His compatriot Fleur Schrader not so good at a 57.706. He'll be looking for a score in the low 60s. At the moment, just around about the 6% mark, 6 mark from the judges. Some half decent marks here. A couple of 7s have appeared in the early stages, so this is, but it's that really can maintain that level. Some good, some bad. Sadly, not enough 7s. Most of them around about the 6 mark. Certainly that's where the average is. Not too hot on the rein back. Just got to try and keep the momentum going, just trying to limit the mistakes, and it's quite hard. It's quite hard work for Timothy. Well, coming down for the final part of his test. Well, he looks very pleased with his effort, just to have produced that performance. And as I said, there were some little moments of really good work, but overall just, as I say, a work in progress, but all the same. And the rider is absolutely ecstatic with the effort his horse has put in on his behalf. But looks as if it'll be a score around about 61, maybe 62% in the end, which would put him into 12th, but ahead of his compatriot Fleur Schrader. And there a beaming smile as we wait on his score. He's really enjoyed it and getting an idea. It's just 61.5, so puts him into 12th spot. But he marking a little bit more harshly, but as I say, in the end, 61.50. And into 12th spot. So the 1, 2, 3. Rick Vance to Horst, Natasha Bacon, Rebecca Hart. That is our current medal table. But still some very interesting combinations to come with amongst the 4 final riders. Their confirmation of where we are on the current standings towards the end of this Grade 3 competition. And that fact that there are 6 in the 70% or higher category shows you how good it has been so far. Now, sure there'll be a lot of support for the next rider coming in. She is one of the most popular, and of course has been competing at many. I refer to Lauren Barwick from Canada. She is the next rider to come in. Been competing at 3 Paralympics, picked up a couple of medals in Beijing as well. That's our judge at B. Anna Prayen from France is the judge at B. Sorry, judge at E rather than B. Now here comes Lauren Barwick into the arena to see whether she can get herself into a medal position. Probably, looking at this horse, probably 67, 68, so maybe not quite for the 41-year-old looking at a medal position here, but you never know. Perhaps she can produce something here. As she prepares to come in on Engelbrecht, another young horse, just 9 years of age. Smiling away at the judges as she comes down the line. At the judge at B, that is Anna Prayen in that particular box to the side of the arena, and come past the three judges at the camera end. So the bell sounds. Engelbrecht getting ready. As they're competing at those 3 Paralympics. Recently come back from having a baby. Oh dear, the horse just getting a little bit fresh. So it just takes another turn. Recovered. Always a slightly anxious moment. But all's well. Showing all her experience and composure. Lauren Barwick then begins for Canada. And the starts again, really reflecting where we thought she might be, around about the 68% mark. Some respectable enough scores coming in, so it does look as if she's possibly heading for around about 7th or 8th at the moment. There's some much better scores. That was reasonably smooth. Around about some decent scores in the 7s starting to appear on her card. Looks as if this might be the sort of score that could see her maybe go into possibly 6th. It might be heading to a score that could be touching the 70%. Caroline Nielsen, the rider on 70.441 in 6th spot. And this is going to be a hard-fought battle to get through to the freestyle competition. There's going to be maybe some surprising omissions from that, but on the walk back. Oh, it was good and not too bad on the rein back either, just shy of 7. But it's keeping her in a good position. Because the horse was definitely lively before the contest started. It's been kept serenely under control, and it's all looking very respectable for the vastly experienced Canadian rider. Came back after having a baby not that long ago. So coming towards the end, I think she's going to be pretty pleased with this, is that Lauren Barwick, as she comes down the centre line towards the judge, because overall a pleasing enough effort. So Lauren Barwick with her test there, she doesn't look overly pleased with it, but I have to say she should feel pretty satisfied with her effort. The horse is, being a relatively young one at just 9 years of age, there is again plenty of potential with that performance. Looking at some of the movements here, very calm picture presenting. Horse responding in kind for Lauren Barwick. I'm just wondering what the final score will be for her. She quietly makes her way out of the arena here. And the score, not one that's going to get into the 70s, but it has put her right up there with into 68.824. So she does overhaul Barbara Minneci. 3 more riders to go. So in 7th spot. And it might be an anxious moment to see whether, with 2 of the 3 combinations to come, maybe having aspirations of being near the top of the leaderboard, it might be a question, will a combination get through to the freestyle? But 68.824 is her score. There is the way the leaderboard looks now, with 3 more combinations to come. Rikke van der Horst out in front after a quite exhilarating test on her new horse Finsbury, the defending champion, still in pole position to defend her title. Now, I talked about Lauren Barwick being amongst the most experienced of combinations. Well, here's another one who has done so much for Para-Dressage and has been competing at this level for a long time. The very popular German anaesthetist, Dr. Angelika Trabert, competed in Atlanta. Very different sport it was then. You were basically allocated a horse and you got on with it. But now, of course, it's a very different competition now, with you finding your own horses and building it on. And Angelika Trabert has seen the full transformation of this sport, and working, as I say, as an anaesthetist, and does a lot of work not only for the riding but helping in Africa with various charities and medical charities. So she's a very busy lady, is this 50-year-old German, but she's one heck of a para-dressage rider. So what can she and Diamond Shine, this 8-year-old gelding, and another young horse, and we've even got a 7-year-old still to come. So it shows you where we are here. So many horses in their burgeoning career. So Angelika now off and running. And some good starts there, some good scores to begin with. Just in the low 7s. Well, again, all in the low 7s. It's may not quite be the moment of medal winning, but it's right up towards a score over 70%, which would give us our 7th pairing combination in that area. Just a bit of a costly mistake a few moments ago, but back on track of the half circle alert, and the transitions all in the 7s. So she's around about the 70%. But given this is an 8-year-old, see how this goes. Not bad. That's not quite given the holding the hold. Now to the rein back. Was adjudged to be one of the best of the day, 7.8. So some good scoring along the way here, keeping her near that 70% mark, and looking if she's going to be in for a finish around about that mark. Would see her go into 6th, and on that basis Barbara Minneci would be missing the action on Saturday. For a young horse, this is exciting for the vastly experienced Dr. Angelika Trabert with that performance, coming in with a good ending and a big smile from the very popular Angelika Trabert. And I think she's going to feel pretty pleased with that. It's not going to be medal winning, but it's going to be, I think, a score inside the lower than 70%, and for the end, a 7.9 at the end. So that's one of the best scores for that today. We don't think we've seen an 8 across any of the riders so far, not that I'm aware. So saw a couple yesterday. Sophie Wells did, and there weren't that many. So judges, shows you that it still, though, is very competitive. It's been great quality. So, and there is Angelique, just grinning away at the end of her test, and she's still chatting away after that. So she goes out of the arena, and the score is another one in the 70s. And actually, she is going into 5th spot because she's overhauling her compatriot Steffen Zeibig to go into 5th spot with 71.50. Now, how good is that for Angelika Trabert? So Germany in 5th and 6th here, and confirmation of Barbara Minneci slipping down to 9th, and Lauren Barwick will be anxiously watching to see what happens over the next 2 and final 2 combinations. We've got Inês Teixeira from Portugal with a 7-year-old about to come in, but it is at the moment all about Rikke van Horst sitting on top with that magical 73.735 test that catapulted her into the lead, overhauling Natasha Baker, who was first to go this morning, just around about 2.5 hours ago, on board her new Mount St. John Diva, and so she finished with 72.471, which would have been good enough to win the World Equestrian Gold 4 years ago, but not this year. At the moment, Rikke van der Horst is the one out in front, with 2 riders still to go. And just confirming Lauren Barwick's score, 68.912, as we wait for the penultimate rider to come in. And here, that penultimate rider is coming in to the arena. And it is from Portugal. Yes, Teixeira, making her way quietly to the far end of the arena. Inês Teixeira. Final rider to go will be Erin Orford, but the 26-year-old from Portugal in this grade 3, riding this 7-year-old, Geralda Samadina. The youngest horse in this competition. I think across the board might be the youngest as well. So let's see how this stallion can cope with proceedings here. So, in she comes. And the score's looking around about the 6, so probably for this young horse, be currently hoping to get into the 60s. Some of the scores they've been getting some 66s recently, but at the moment just behind that. Just trying to keep it together. All those 6s really for Minneci at the moment. Some a little bit lower. That turn on haunch is always quite a difficult movement, and found a few issues now coming down. With a halt. That's not quite what she was looking for. Just keeping it going and trying to keep mistakes to a minute. It's just nothing overly exuberant about it. As she comes towards the end of her test, halts, and there we have it for Ines Teixeira and Geraldo Serendina. their test is complete. And again, it's all part of a learning curve with a 7-year-old. I have to say, acquitted himself pretty creditably with the maybe the lack of experience. This is a bigger deal, and rider looks very happy with the efforts of his horse. And just waiting on the score, just confirming that Angelika Trabert was 71.588 to go into 5th, beating her compatriot Steffen Zeibig into that spot, who was on 71.294, so close. And just looking between the the top from the 2nd to the 6th, there is 1.2, around about 1.2 percentage points separating them. That just gives you the sense of the closeness. Now, we have one more rider to go, as the official score will come through for Ines to confirm where she is, but probably around about the 61%, probably maybe a little bit more, but just wait on that. As Erin Orford has made her way into the arena, the final rider riding a Dior and sporting her Great Britain hat. She's a bit like her compatriot, a very bubbly character. And so this is our last rider. Now, of course, for Erin, was part of the team in Gothenburg last year, last minute call up, and has been knocking on the door in previous teams. So it will be a chance. So can she, and just quickly give you the score, sadly not in the 60s for Ines Teixeira, 59.618, putting her into 15th spot. So not quite as good, but let's see now how Erin gets on. This is an important one. Again, from a sort of confidence point of view, needs a good performance, because obviously wants this, and obviously building towards the team competition. But she says the horse is in good form, travelled over well, and she's loving every minute of being here in the States. And let's see how the start, not too bad, but is she able to threaten someone for a medal? But she's going to have to produce maybe a performance of a lifetime. Some of these scores are all right, but at the moment they're not setting the world alight in terms of medal proposition. She's looking around about the 70%. She's in the area, sort of maybe finishing in the 5th, 6th spot on the early starts. 7s for just looking for something a little bit. Can she gain confidence and improve as the test develops? You can see they're reasonably amount of energy. She's a bubbly character. Can she get the best out of her horse this afternoon? Oh, 1, 2, 3 at the moment is the Netherlands, Britain and America. That turn didn't go well at all, and that's why I only got a judge with 4.4. That's a bit costly, so she's going to have to regroup and keep it going. So she's going to find a way. She's going to be looking at that top 8. She will be disappointed if she can't make that. So she's going to have to really find that it's just not really working for her at the moment. Just feel it's all a bit laboured. Come on, keep it going. Now it turns around. Continuing into the walk. She's having to work quite hard. into the halt. That halt was good, and that did help with a 7.7, so that was the best mark that she scored on element of her test so far. She's got to now maintain that consistency of scores in the sevens if she wants to finish in the top 8, which is questionable at the moment. There's been such good quality. 7 inside 70%. The 8th place is 68.912. Lauren Barwick on that mark. It's getting a little better. All 7s now creeping into the score. And she comes towards the end, heading now down the centre line to the final halt, and not completely square, but she's happy enough. But I think she knows deep down that that was perhaps not her best. And where's that going to be? Is it going to be inside the top 8? But it's looks, well, now Riks van der Horst can celebrate a gold medal, I'm pretty sure. Natasha Baker from Britain and Rebecca Hart are medalists. But where's Erin Orford going to finish? But Riks van der Horst, with that score of 73.735, is going to be our gold medalist. But where does Erin Orford finish? Be interesting. Just never quite got momentum. It was all just quite hard work for her. The horse wasn't quite giving of her best today. But all the same, still, has the Union flag been raised? Will be raised in a few moments in the silver medal position as they will get ready for the medal ceremony. But here is the score, and it is going to be 9th. So disappointing, I have to say, from an Erin Orford's point of view. 68.853 going into 9th. But still the team competition to come for the British rider. But it is, and can now confirm, that Riks van der Horst is the second rider from the Netherlands to pick up a gold medal here this week in the Para-Dressage. And they are the dominant team. They're looking very strong this week with that second, and particularly with a young horse. A fabulous performance, 73.735 the winning. Natasha Baker 72.471. Rebecca Hart will pick up a bronze medal for the host nation, America, in the Tryon Stadium. So celebrations for the Americans. But the medal ceremony will be taking place shortly. But a fabulous competition. 7 riders with scores of 70% or better, which just tells you the quality. And it's in the end, it is a defending champion who has come through. There's confirmation of the order, with the Netherlands celebrating gold number 2, Natasha Baker, with Britain's second medal of the Para-Dressage and their first silver of the Equestrian Games, and Rebecca Hart for America in bronze, and heartache for Emma Booth of Australia, just missing out in 4th spot. A fabulous competition. We'll be back shortly for the medal ceremony.
Equestrian Dressage Individual Grade 3 Medal Ceremony.
No problem.
Please welcome the medalists for the Para-Dressage Grade 3 individual time.
Well, time now for the medal ceremony for this Grade 3. Grade 3 class today with Rikke van der Horst. And it's Rikke van der Horst is our successful defending champion. A fabulous display with a different horse, a fabulous score of 73.735. There are the other competitors. It was high quality throughout. Obviously some inexperienced combinations towards the end at the bottom of the field, but overall you have to say that the quality was stunning throughout. And there are our medalists coming in to the arena, and with Rikke van der Horst about to receive a gold medal for a second time. For Natasha Baker, no gold medal this time, but there she is ready to receive a silver, back competing, keeping an eye on a horse. Pedro on hand to help Rikke van der Horst. And for America, big moment for Rebecca Hart as well to pick up their first medal in the Para-Dressage on home soil. Will mean a lot to her. So now we get ready for the presentation and the announcement of the medalists in this competition. And there are American supporters on hand as the bronze medalist Rebecca Hart makes her way forward to receive that. And much celebration of, and the pride on her face is there for all to see what it means to win a medal on home soil. But Natasha Baker, she's won many medals. Great to be back and pleased to be back competing at the highest level. There are members of her support team. Natasha Baker now will be picking up a silver medal to go with her many gold medals. But she is prolific, she's determined. She is a real character, and she has confirmed that she's got a real superstar in her horse Finsley. But she proved what a superstar she is by picking up the gold medal here with a fabulous score. And now the medals are to be presented. Amanda Bond, in charge of the FEI Para Dressage, comes forward to present the bronze medal first to Rebecca Hart, being applauded by Rikke van der Horst as she receives her bronze medal. Next up, receiving her silver, and is Natasha Baker. She'll love the fact that she has received another medal, as this time last year hadn't got a horse, but found a horse that has now put her back into the Para-Dressage spotlight, and with a young horse too, and she's so excited. But I tell you what, Rikke van der Horst thoroughly deserved her gold medal. It was an exhilarating test. It looked as good as it could have been. From the moment she came into the arena, she set the standard. And now coming forward, Sharon Decker from the organising committee here, and Alan Mann from the sponsors of the Para-Dressage, Adequan, and giving the Rebecca Hart a big hug, and comes forward the pair to have a quick word with Natasha Baker, and it will be Rikke van der Horst who will be receiving the bouquet of flowers from Alan Mann for her wonderful test on this now warm day here in Tryon, in the Tryon Stadium. And finally, stepping forward to hand out watches on behalf of Longines, Juan Carlos Capelli, Head of Marketing and Vice President, comes forward to hand out the Longines watches to the medalists here. And Natasha will be getting a Longines watch for her efforts as well, looking down at that. And then to the winner as well, another of these prized Longines watches. Just having a quick photograph before we will hear the Dutch national anthem for the second time here during the Para-Dressage. And now it is time for the national anthem of the Netherlands as we celebrate the victory of Rikke van der Horst. Great moment defending her title that she won in Caen 4 years ago. Rikke van der Horst is our champion in the Grade 3 classification here. And obviously it puts, in terms of the confidence emanating through the, oozing through the team from the Netherlands as they look forward to the team competition. Quick photographs with the medalists. There's Amanda Bond with Juan Carlos Capelli just to her left, as they will then leave the arena. And members of the Great Britain team support staff. Quick photograph with Juan Carlos. The watches. So next up will be the Grade 1. We'll have 17 riders going forward. And, well, happy moment for all. And they will... It was a terrific, entertaining morning's competition and a hard-fought one that certainly has shown how just the quality amongst these Grade 3 riders as they get ready to have their photograph together. The three ladies celebrating medal-winning moments, and camaraderie there for all to see amongst the riders here, as they then can now look forward to the team competition. These three will be in action on Friday in the team competition. Next up, we will have the Grade 1, and that will begin at around about 1:30 for the 17 riders for the final individual gold to be decided. Hope you can join us for that, but I'll tell you what, so far this Para-Dressage competition has not disappointed. 4 fabulous competitions won by some very worthy combinations. Looking forward to the Grade 1. That will begin at 1:30 here in the Tryon Stadium.